In Chapter 61 of Limitless Rebirth, Alex Locke in the Marvel Multiverse, Tony Stark makes a grand entrance through a magical portal, now wearing the powerful Mark 7 armor-combining technology and magic. Upon his arrival, he sees familiar heroes, including a strangely altered Captain America and the Hulk, as well as a threatening cosmic portal forming in the sky. Realizing that Alex's actions are about to bring disaster to Earth by inviting alien forces, Tony warns him to close the portal. Despite the danger, Alex, now a figure of immense power, dismisses the concern, subtly hinting at Tony's future as the next Sorcerer Supreme. As cosmic forces loom, the stakes couldn't be higher, with the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. Alex steps up to the portal with an intense resolve. The Chitauri soldiers flooding through the portal spot him and pause, their mocking laughter echoing as they prepare for battle. A human? End him! They shout, gearing up for what seems like an easy kill. But Alex, calm and unshaken, grins. In an instant, he channels a terrifying power black and red lightning crackling around him, forming into a singularity at his fingertip. With a single, focused motion, he launches it toward the portal. The energy is unstoppable. A sonic boom rips through the air, shattering windows for miles. The Chitauri, caught halfway through the portal, are obliterated instantly. Their bodies and weapons disintegrate into nothingness as the singularity devours everything in its path. The first wave of the Chitauri army wiped out in the blink of an eye, leaving only cosmic dust behind. The red and unstoppable force cut through the vacuum of space, accelerating with unstoppable force. Inside the Chitauri mothership, panic set in as the commander urgently ordered, "Fire now! We cannot let that thing hit!" Energy beams erupted from the mothership, but despite their efforts, the red and black singularity broke through every defense. It sliced through their hull with surgical precision, sending a shockwave through the ship's control room. A deafening crash echoed, followed by the sound of rending metal. The commander's eyes widened as a massive red warning sign blinked on the status board on strike was all it took to breach their defenses. The commander's mind raced, wasn't Earth supposed to be primitive? How could they possess such power? Just then, the deputy commander reported, "Commander, a human from Earth just came through the portal." The commander turned, his gaze locking onto the white-haired, blue-eyed figure floating through the portal. This human was unfazed by the deadly radiation, freezing cold of space, and the remains of fallen Chitauri soldiers floating around him. Instead, he flashed a grin that sent a chill through the commander's spine. This was no ordinary human. It reminded him of a chilling rumor spreading across the cosmos. Earth, a terrifying planet of unimaginable power. The legend of Earth's mightiest hero begins with skepticism. A warrior, once doubtful of Earth's potential to harbor a force like Captain Marvel, now faces a reality he never expected. The power emanating from this white-haired Earthling proves undeniable. Alex, tapping into his extraordinary abilities, steps into the void of space, effortlessly absorbing cosmic radiation to enhance his strength, defying the limits of human survival. His body, constantly repaired by his reverse curse technique, allows him to thrive without the need for oxygen. With his energy skyrocketing, Alex issues a call to arms, commanding Earth's mightiest heroes to charge. And with each step, the universe trembles, the battle ready to erupt in cosmic fury. The fate of all hangs in the balance as the heroes prepare to face their ultimate challenge. As Alex gave the signal, a spaceship burst forth, streaking through space with symbiote-fused former heroes aboard, racing straight for the Chitauri mothership. The enemy commander, sensing impending doom, yelled to intercept, but it was too late. A hail of energy blasts lit up the void, only to be devoured effortlessly by the white-haired Earthling standing atop the vessel, untouched and unshaken. With a thunderous impact, the ship crashed into the mothership, unleashing its terrifying cargo-bonded warriors, ripping through hull and metal like cosmic reapers, followed by the eerie calm of that same white-haired figure. Watching from afar, Tony Stark stood frozen, realizing Alex hadn't just opened a portal for laughs, she'd launched a counterstrike that flipped the battlefield. With a wry smirk, Tony muttered, "Not bad," before jetting into the stars. Tony had long foreseen the need for cosmic combat, and with his new Mark 7 suit fused with mystic energy, he rocketed into space like a comet of war. At the height of the chaos near the Chitauri mothership, Earth's heroes now fused with symbiotes and supercharged with raw Hulk, force ripped through enemy ranks like a living avalanche. But it was the Hulk who stole the spotlight. With frost powers inherited from a frost giant, every punch froze and shattered the battlefield. The Chitauri's desperate blasts couldn't penetrate the symbiote armor, leaving them helpless as the Hulk rampaged through their ranks. Yet their true dread wasn't the green beast, it was the silent storm behind him. The white-haired figure who absorbed their fire and only grew stronger. Untouched by blood, untouched by debris, he walked through the battle like a ghost, king his mere presence, bending the rules of war. Tony, already prepared for space warfare thanks to what he learned at Kamar Taj, unleashed his new Mark 7 suit now fused with arcane might into the chaos above Earth. As he blazed toward the Chitauri mothership, the battlefield had turned brutal. Captain America and others, bonded with symbiotes and supercharged with Hulk-level strength, tore through enemy ranks under a storm of alien energy blasts. Yet nothing compared to the sheer destruction brought by the Hulno, fused with a symbiote that had absorbed frost powers from a frost giant. Every punch hit like a glacier-sized hammer, freezing and smashing enemies in one devastating motion. Chitauri beams were useless, barely scorching the outer shell of the symbiote before Hulk, the legend of Earth's mightiest hero, begins with skepticism. A warrior, once doubtful of Earth's potential to harbor a force like Captain Marvel, now faces a reality he never expected. The power emanating from this white-haired Earthling proves undeniable. Alex, tapping into his extraordinary abilities, steps into the void of space, effortlessly absorbing cosmic radiation to enhance his strength, defying the limits of human survival. His body, constantly repaired by his reverse curse technique, allows him to thrive without the need for oxygen. With his energy skyrocketing, Alex issues a call to arms, commanding Earth's mightiest heroes to charge. And with each step, the universe trembles, the battle ready to erupt in cosmic fury. The fate of all hangs in the balance as the heroes prepare to face their ultimate challenge. In the shadows of collapsing stars and fractured timelines, a whisper of dread echoed through the cosmos buried deep in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s records, was proof that Alex Locke, the limitless anomaly of Earth, had effortlessly dismantled a warrior ranked alongside the feared Thanos himself. The commander, once defiant, fell into stunned silence. The weight of reality crashing down this wasn't war, it was annihilation. His voice trembled as he barked, "Alert Lord Thanos, send reinforcements now!" On a scorched planet, choked by fading fire and ruin, Ebony Maw intercepted a desperate signal. A human on Earth wielded cosmic-level might. At first, he assumed it was the Sorcerer Supreme, but the image told another tale. No cape, no ancient sigils, just Alex. Maw exhaled in relief it wasn't the Supreme. But something far worse. With no Sorcerer Supreme to interfere, the report reached Thanos without issue. His response was swift and cold. Deploy Cull Obsidian, Corvus Glaive, and Proxima Midnight to neutralize the Earthlings and erase the Chitauri, who had outlived their usefulness. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, Alex's constant use of reverse curse technique to heal oxygen-deprived cells rapidly increased his mastery. Just as Captain America and the team breached the Chitauri command deck, a system prompt echoed his RCT had leveled up to Phase 3, now capable of converting cursed energy into powerful positive force, strong enough to heal others. Without hesitation, Alex sliced open his palm and watched, as the wound vanished instantly, healing now far outpaced even Level 2's Wolverine-like speed. Fully sustaining both RCT and Infinity simultaneously was now effortless. More than that, Level 3 opened a new frontier: shared healing. With power now coursing through him like a living storm, Alex discovered he could twist the laws of aging and self-shifting between youth and old age at will, bending time's grip not just over himself, but over anything he touched, living or not. Once his reality control technique hit Level 4, he knew he could tear the Stone of Existence right from its host. Slamming the system shut, his eyes locked ahead. The battlefield roared Hulk, now a frostborn juggernaut, rampaged through Chitauri, ranks like an avalanche of rage, while Captain and the others swept up the remnants in a blaze of resistance. No enemy dared survive the storm they brought. In moments, they stood before the mothership's command chamber. Boom! Hulk's fist shattered the metal gate like paper. Inside, Alex strode forward, energy radiating off him like a god awakened. "If you leave now, I will forgive your earlier offense." The commander's voice rang out in desperation, but Alex kept walking, unshaken, eyes locked on the alien leader. Panic twisted across the commander's face as he barked, "Fire! Shoot him down!" Blinding streams of energy tore through the air, striking Alex, but they fizzled on impact, feeding him instead of stopping him. Within moments, he stepped into a storm of beams, untouched, unstoppable. The frontline Chitauri soldier charged time only to be sliced clean through in a flash, the pieces quartered before hitting the ground. A wave of invisible force followed, vaporizing anything within 5 meters, painting the air in red mist that couldn't touch him. By the time Alex stood before the lone commander, every soldier had fallen. The alien trembled, staring up at the Earthling with pure terror, voice cracking as he scrambled for. Suspended in midair by a twisted gravitational force, the Chitauri commander's frame quivered violently, bones audibly cracking under invisible pressure as Alex, calm and composed, gazed at him with a chilling smile and mocked, "Look at your ugly figure. Like a contorted insecto, even universe-scouring invaders can tremble in fear. Before he could go further, a deep voice thundered through the control room, ordering Alex to release the captive, declaring only the Mad Titan held dominion over his subordinates. A tall, gray-skinned figure appeared via projection, warning Alex to surrender and face Thanos' judgment or face obliteration. Moments later, a colossal wormhole tore open the void, birthing a warship far larger than the Chitauri mothership within it. Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, and Cull Obsidian watched the defiant Earthlings breach the Chitauri vessel. As Cull issued a final ultimatum, Corvus sneered at the incompetence of their allies, lamenting that even Earthlings now dared challenge Thanos' might, while Proxima vowed they would make the invaders bleed for their arrogance. They thought Earthlings were weak, incapable of resisting the might of the Black Order, but while they mocked, a thunderous roar shattered the calm. "No, you wretch! Damned insect! I will tear you apart!" It was Cull Obsidian, furious beyond control. The Earthling had refused their offer, neutralized the Chitauri commander, and dared to defy the feared enforcers of galactic will. Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, their pride wounded, snarled in disbelief. How dare they challenge us? The ignorant must be taught the meaning of terror. With a flick of command, energy cannon surged to life, firing a searing beam meant to reduce the rebels to dust. As the cosmic blast streaked toward its mark, victory seemed certain, until it stopped suspended in space, held aloft by the single outstretched hand of a white-haired Earthling, glowing with unfathomable power. Seconds before the blast, Alex smirked at the towering brute, then calmly released his repulsion field, letting the Chitauri commander crash only to stride forward, touch him, and reduce the invader to ash with a blinding surge of energy. Black Dwarf's smug confidence cracked. Alex turned and flipped him the bird, a defiant salute. Tony, eyes locked on the charging main cannon aboard the Black Order's warship, muttered, "You just had to poke the hornet's nest." Diagnostics flashing red, he warned, "That's no ordinary beam there, about to nuke this block and keep going." But before Tony could finish, Alex vanished into a portal, reappearing dead center in the beam's path. "What are you doing?" Tony roared, "That's suicide!" But Alex, expression unreadable, stood unflinching beneath the growing storm of cosmic annihilation. Compared to a nuclear blast, those energy beams were laser-focused annihilation. As the portal shimmered open, hope flared Earth was just one step away. The Sorcerer Supreme would handle the chaos. But before the words could land, the mothership's main cannon screamed to life, unleashing a beam that tore through space like a cosmic blade. Alex stood like an ant before a meteor, dwarfed by the sheer force, but unyielding. Tony triggered another portal, straining with all his tech and magic to drag Alex out. But Alex wouldn't move a rooted, defiant. As the beam roared closer, threatening to consume them both, Tony shouted in desperation, but time had already run out. The blast struck. For one blinding moment, survival seemed impossible until the unthinkable happened. The beam stopped, frozen mid-space. And there stood Alex, one arm raised, holding back destruction itself with sheer will. Tony could only stare, stunned, as the unstoppable met the immovable and blinked. Alex turned with a confident grin, telling Tony to stay put before launching himself straight into the blinding energy beam, slicing through the sky each step, igniting a cascade of system notifications echoing in his mind. Energy point +1, over and over, as the cosmic stream fed directly into his core. The beam, no match for the power he now wielded, bent to his will as he surged forward, bypassing gravity's crushing pull like it was nothing, until he reached the spaceship's main cannon. Then, with a single blast of red, he overloaded it into oblivion. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of the control room, smashing through reinforced glass like it was paper, his hand locking around Black Dwarf's head and slamming it into the steel floor with thunderous finality. The once feared brute, a terror across galaxies, squirmed helplessly beneath the grip of the one they never saw, coming Alex, the Earthling anomaly rewriting power itself. Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight were stunned. Their opponent had just deflected a ship-destroying beam, overloaded the main cannon, and walked into the control room like a storm in human form, neutralizing Black Dwarf without breaking stride. Shock and doubt flickered across their faces. Was this yet another cosmic tier force from Earth? Without hesitation, they struck, weapons slashing and spinning, but the attacks halted midair, stopped by the black-red lightning erupting from Alex's hands. With effortless power, Alex crushed Black Dwarf's skull barehanded, the same hands that shrugged off the starship's assault. Rising, energy crackling around him, he cleansed the blood with a flick of his limitless technique and met their panicked gazes with a calm smile. "You think you can make me surrender?" he asked, voice soft and lethal. In a heartbeat, The duo split to flank him, Corvus lunging first with his atom-splitting blade only for Alex to raise one hand, sending him crashing through steel walls with a pulse of repulsion. He turned to face Proxima, her lightspeed spear gleaming, as if daring her to try. As the smoke cleared, Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight stared in disbelief. This Earthling had deflected a full energy blast, obliterated the main cannon, and stormed into the command deck like a cosmic storm, neutralizing Black Dwarf in a blink. Is this another cosmic-level force born on Earth, they wondered, weapons drawn? But their attacks fizzled midair, repelled by black-red lightning bursting from Alex's hands. A single motion Black Dwarf's skull collapsed under his grip, untouched by even the ship's energy beam. Rising slowly, he let the blood drip away with his limitless technique, eyes fixed on the shaken duo. "Do you really think you two can make me surrender?" he asked, a soft smile cutting sharper than any blade. They lunged Corvus with a blade meant to cleave atoms, Proxima with a spear as swift as light. But against the Infinity, atoms stayed whole. Alex caught the assault with ease, one wave of his hand sending Corvus crashing through walls. Then, turning, he faced the incoming spear without flinching. With a sly grin and a gleam in his six eyes, Alex shrunk the reach of his Limitless just enough to let Corvus believe he was breaking through. "Oh no! You're getting so close! Please don't come any closer!" He cried out, mock terror in his voice. Blinded by rage, Corvus surged forward, mistaking illusion for victory, convinced he was about to avenge his fallen wife. His blade carved the air with brutal precision, generating a whirlwind of fury in the command chamber, inching ever closer. Alex gave ground with each strike, theatrics on full display. At last, Corvus was face to face with the man he loathed, screaming, "Die, you lowly earthling!" as his blade flashed forward. Alex raised one hand, feigning panic only for the supersonic weapon to be caught dead in its tracks by a single finger. In the midst of shattered pride and disbelief, Corvus stared wide-eyed as his blade once, a blur of unstoppable force, froze midair, halted by the impossible. The Earthling before him grinned with infuriating ease, shedding all traces of fear, now radiating amusement like a cat toying with its prey. "Ha ha ha! That looked priceless! You thought you had a chance? Ha 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 ha!" Alex clutched his side, laughing so hard he doubled over, while Corvus's expression twisted between hope and horror. Enraged at being mocked, Corvus roared and lunged, his atomic-cutting weapon slicing down again, only to be stopped cold by a single, delicate-looking finger. No wound, not even a dent. Just unbearable power in its calmest form. As despair cracked through his voice, Corvus screamed, "No!" while Alex, utterly unfazed, nonchalantly cleaned his ear and strolled forward, the shimmering tendrils of infinity beginning to unfurl once more. Corvus lunged with relentless fury, but something had shifted. Alex advanced with quiet certainty, the distance between them widening until it reset to 5 meters. Trapped against the wall, Corvus began to fracture, not from the wall itself, but from the invisible force Alex exerted behind it. Flesh, bone, armor all shattered under the crushing collision of energies. Yet even as his body splintered, Corvus laughed, his half-pulverized form vibrating just enough to hiss, "You can't end me, I'll return and finish this." But Alex's calm never wavered. With a faint smile, he answered, "True, unless I sever the soul tethered to your weapon, you'll always return." At that moment, Corvus's grin turned to stunned silence. "How do you know my ability?" sneered the arrogant warrior, pride dripping from every word. "Even if you do, my blade is indestructible. Not even Lord Thanos could make a scratch. What can you possibly do?" But Alex, unfazed, extended his hand. With a crackle of black and red lightning, the blade flew to him, vibrating with unstable cosmic energy. Yet even his power couldn't break it. Corvus laughed coldly. "A mere earthling dreaming big didn't waste your breath." But Alex just smirked, his voice sharp as his will. "I've seen indestructible before. The destroyer armor from Asgard ring a bell? I wonder if your toy outlasts Odin's finest." That hit home. Corvus froze, confidence rattled, because some forces, he knew, were far beyond even his pride. Even with his blade held firm, doubt crept into his stance. There was no way it could survive what Alex had become. As fear cracked through his bravado, he stammered out a question, but Alex wasn't in the mood to talk. His grip tightened, and with it came a glow first blue, then bleeding into a dark red. The colors spiraled, fused, and ignited into a blazing purple sphere that pulsed with voidal force. The moment it touched the blade, reality buckled. Metal vanished, soulbound energy unraveled, and the very essence of the weapon disintegrated into nothingness. No fragments, no echoes, just an empty void where once stood power. The scream from the weapon's soul echoed like a dying star, drawn out by Alex's deliberate cruelty. Minute by minute, Corvus Glaive once, the indomitable vanguard was erased, his twitching remnants swallowed in total stillness. In that silence, the legend fell. Alex, now wielding power beyond reason, stood unchallenged, his 6 eyes reflecting the void he just unleashed. Bathed in scorching, cursed energy, flesh and bone vaporized into nothingness ashes in the wind. With the battlefield silent, Alex Locke activated his 6 eyes, spotting a surge of Black Order troops closing in. Their leader gone, yet loyalty unbroken. The elite charged with suicidal resolve. In the past, he would have unleashed his signature purple to erase them outright, but not this time. He needed their ship intact. As they approached, Alex calmly formed a sharp 2-finger sign. Domain expansion, unlimited void. A silent explosion of cursed energy consumed the space. Minds were shattered by infinite streams of useless information, forcing all enemies into a frozen stupor. Smiling, Alex vanished and reappeared beside them one by one, flickering through the still figures like a phantom. Each touch surged with overwhelming force, their forms combusting into blinding eruptions. One by one, the soldiers collapsed under the strain, their end sealed before they even realized they'd fallen. Moving like a phantom through metal and void, Alex blurred across the spaceship with relentless teleportation, phasing through every corridor and chamber until only silence and drifting ash remained from the Black Order core. Back in the control room, he caught his breath body strained, mind pulsing then, let the reversal technique flood him with restoration, snapping him back to full strength. Without hesitation, he tore open a portal to the Chitauri mothership, the Sanctuary 2, just as Tony and the others stepped through. "Tony, can you control this ship?" he asked. Tony, all swagger and spark, answered, "Of course. You're looking at the greatest inventor alive, but where is everyone? Why haven't I seen a soul?" Alex's eyes held the calm of a storm after impact. "I just dealt with them." Tony froze. "What?" Elsewhere, aboard Sanctuary the First, Thanistil, awaiting the return of his soldiers, grew restless, the quiet stretching into something ominous, as he turned to Ebony Maw and demanded, "Why haven't Corvus and the others returned?" Ebony Maw tried reaching Corvus, but with comms ruined by Alex and still under Tony's repairs, silence answered. A cold dread crept in. Pulling up Sanctuary Second's footage, he and Thanos witnessed devastation. The white-haired Earthling advancing calmly through chaos, the Black Dwarf's skull crushed, Proxima Midnight vaporized by a repulsion blast, and Corvus regenerating only to be pulverized again until even his soul-bound blade shattered under a purple sphere. The screen went still, and so did they. Thanos' fury twisted his face, but deep down, he knew the truth. This Earthling, this Alex, hadn't even used full power. With grim resolve, Thanos quelled his wrath. Forget vengeance. Focus on the Power Stone. Only with it can we breach Earth. For the first time, the Mad Titan Breaker of Worlds shows patience over pride. Because, simply put, he couldn't win Thanos' admitted defeat. For now. Hearing the response, Alex gave a rare nod of approval, assigning Tony the task of repairing the ship's control room and teaching Black Widow and the others to navigate it. This wasn't just a vessel anymore, it would become the long-term base of S.H.I.E.L.D. But Sanctuary 2? That name belonged to a past era. Alex stood in thought, then declared its new name. Ark, a vessel of salvation, destined to carry peace across the stars. With his allies on board, Alex opened a dimensional gate, stepped through, and emerged at the top of Stark Tower. As he neared the portal generator, the Mind Stone burst forth from his pocket dimension, surrounding his arm with radiant cosmic energy that shimmered like a storm barely contained. Alex pierced the near-indestructible energy shield with a single hand. Clutching the Tesseract then, shattered it in a storm of black and red lightning. Revealing the hidden space stone within, cosmic energy erupted, orbiting him like twin stars as the Infinity Technique kicked in, flooding his body with raw power. Energy point +1, energy point +1, energy point +1, until he hit the threshold again, pushing his fusion template to a staggering 91%. Grinning, knowing the next evolution was close, he opened a portal to the helicarrier, locked eyes with Agent Hill, and said coolly, "Give me the current locations of all the military generals," because the hunt for vengeance had officially begun. In a high-tech S.H.I.E.L.D. command center glowing with anticipation, Agent Hill slid a tablet into Alex's hands in it, a digital battlefield lit up with red markers pinpointing the generals' exact positions. Alex's eyes gleamed. It was payback time. Meanwhile, deep within a hidden military compound, a top-ranking general sat stone-faced in a conference room, the third emergency session focused solely on the mysterious white-haired mutant. Never before had so much military attention been centered on one person. National conflicts? Yes. A single individual? Never. And yet, every strategy to neutralize him had failed utterly ineffective, like trying to crush a storm with paper. Since the days of World War II, the US had never encountered a force this elusive, this unstoppable. Colonel Stryker stood before the highest council, eyes sharp with resolve. Sentinel development is in its final phase, he announced. And despite his lower rank, silence fell. These machines, powered by arc reactors and enhanced with adaptive shape-shifting genes, represented their last line against the unstoppable threat of the white-haired mutant. That mutant couldn't stop until he'd erased them all. Stryker continued, 10 Sentinels can neutralize a level 4 threat. Deploy 100 and even he won't survive. On screen, the updated Sentinel glowed its core pulsing like a heart of fire, a promise of vengeance forged in steel. The arc reactor wasn't forged from ordinary metal, was a next-gen composite, tougher and self-repairing, a marvel of engineering. As Colonel Stryker explained this breakthrough, the generals finally exhaled, their dread replaced by a surge of hope. With such invincible Sentinel robots, the mission to neutralize the white-haired mutant seemed destined for success. But that illusion shattered in seconds. A thunderous explosion rocked the base, followed by screams and bursts of gunfire. The general's instincts screamed danger, and moments later, a soldier confirmed the worst. The white-haired mutant had found them and was launching a full-scale assault. Shocked and panicked, the general struggled to comprehend how his hidden location known only to the most secretive circle had been exposed. Fear overtook reason. No matter how vast their firepower, facing an enemy of that magnitude meant their defenses would crumble like sand. Desperate, he turned to Colonel Stryker, his voice tight with urgency. How many Sentinels are ready for deployment? Send them. No, he's found me. The warning cut through the silence like a blade. The white-haired mutant had breached the base. Panic ignited across the war room. If he could track one general, he could find them all. No safe house left, no protocol secure. Fear twisted their faces as they turned on Colonel Stryker, demanding immediate deployment. Launch all Sentinels. Rescue Gordon. Neutralize the target. Stryker barked compliance. 200 machines were ready, enough to overwhelm any threat, or so they hoped. Hold on, Gordon. Help's incoming. But high above, the air-cracked Mach 20 ripped through the sky. In seconds, Alex was there. Sirens screamed as the base locked eyes on an approaching force beyond comprehension. Unidentified. Unstoppable. No, it's not an unknown objective. The white-haired mutant. Alarms blared as Alex Locke dropped from the sky like divine judgment, crashing into the base with a meteor's fury. Boom. A colossal shockwave burst outward, flattening every structure in its path. Tanks flung like paper, their operators neutralized in a blink. Dust couldn't touch him. His limitless curse technique swept it away, leaving him pristine amid the wreckage. He walked with eerie calm toward a shattered corner, energy coalescing in his palm, red, pure, and volatile. He launched it into the earth, carving a circular crater with brutal precision. 100 meters down, the underground hideout lay exposed, and within it, the general from Intellis, legs crushed, body broken but alive, twisted in agony beneath Alex's piercing six-eyed gaze. Using the crushing pull of gravity, Alex dragged the general upward, silencing his cries with a cold tap to the chest, then turned away. That's the first one. A blinding explosion burst from the general's core, incinerating everything in a flash of light and heat. From high above, Alex smirked at the towering mushroom cloud, then shattered the sound barrier as he launched toward his next target. Minutes later, he hovered above another military base, unfazed by the storm of missiles and gunfire rising to meet him. Energy surged through him as a black and red singularity formed in his palm, growing until it matched a human size. Cursed technique reversal. Red echoed in his system stacking experience with each surge. Then came the strike. The singularity dove to Earth, detonating with a thunderous boom, leaving behind only a vast, smoking crater where the base once stood. Confirming the second general's fate, Alex vanished once more, relentlessly continuing his mission across the world. News cameras flash of smoke coils from collapsed bases. Alex's blitz was fast, brutal, and impossible to ignore. Among the media frenzy, one survivor stands tall. Eddie, once shattered by the white-haired mutant's devastating red technique, now reborn by his symbiotic power, back on air with vengeance and adrenaline, he faces the lens, voice sharp. 1 hour, 5 bases down, tens of thousands gone. The military struck first, and this is the reply. Chaos spreads across screens. Speculation. Ignatasis this war? At Xavier's Institute, dread grips Professor X. The line between self-defense and annihilation has blurred, and now the government demands mutant unity against their own. Beside him, the blue-furred tactician speaks grimly. Cooperate, or be condemned as enemies of mankind. With Beast's grim warning still echoing, Professor X clenches his Resolvino, more hesitation. Prepare for action. We must stop him. Hank tries to reason, his voice tense. He repelled an alien force without effort. His powers skyrocketed again. We can't beat him. But Xavier's eyes burn with purpose. We have no choice. This is for our future. Beast yields, dispatching the call to the X-Men. Meanwhile, flying over scorched ruins, Eddie Brock gets the alert. Turning to the camera, he steadies his tone. Everyone, stay calm. The recent base attacks were carried out by the white-haired mutant alone. This doesn't reflect mutant-kind's will. There's no war coming. The world's on edge and the tension is electric following Eddie's broadcast. The internet explodes with divided voices. Some hail the white-haired mutant as their one true savior, praying for vengeance in a future where mutants rise free from oppression. Others, driven by fear or guilt, pretend to support him online but secretly wish for his fall. Meanwhile, die-hard supporters rally behind their champion, convinced he'll crush the so-called government and usher in mutant liberation. But as enemies united, ruthless air closing in. The X-Men and military declare their alliance, boasting new weapons and a mission to end him permanently. In shadowed rooms, allies and adversaries alike watch the storm gather, knowing the next move could shatter everything. The world trembles as the X-Men declare alliance with the military, vowing to completely neutralize the white-haired mutant once and for all, armed with new tech that guarantees no escape this time he's finished. The internet erupts. Some civilians shout their support for him online, claiming he'll crush the corrupt powers. But in secret, they dread his wrath if he wins. Meanwhile, his true believers mutants scarred by oppression chant his name as a savior, dreaming of a future where they rise and retaliate. But just as loud are the voices of his enemies, convinced that his end is near, celebrating what they see as an imminent victory for peace. In the shadows, Polaris and her allies watch it all unfold, eyes fixed on a storm that's far from over. Just as Alex prepared to wipe out another military base, his gaze shifted to the horizon. A wicked grin spreading across his face seemed the brass had finally made their move. With a casual stretch of his hand, he conjured a blue-black void that clashed with a crimson singularity, fusing into a swirling purple force of devastation. A gift, he thought, hurling the sphere into the incoming swarm of 200 Sentinels. The impact was catastrophic. Machines vanished in flashes of light, shredded mid-flight, twisted metal, vaporized on contact. The attack was so overpowering, even upgraded alloys couldn't handle the strain. High-ranking officials watching from afar were stunned. Their prized reinforcements were being neutralized like paper in a storm. When challenged, Colonel Stryker admitted, nothing, not even their best materials, could stand against the sheer might of the white-haired mutant's purple sphere. But he warned, that kind of power had a price, and Alex couldn't possibly unleash it again without limits, right? The generals watched with smug confidence as Colonel Stryker's explanation played out just. As the shattered Sentinels began rapidly regenerating, mysterious, non-metallic matter forming out of thin air to heal their broken frames. Alex, intrigued, examined the upgraded Sentinels, their glowing arc reactors pulsing ominously like futuristic hearts, clearly enhanced by some of the multiverse's brightest minds. These mechanical beasts now bore advanced tech-space warping gear and mutant suppression tools he recognized. Grinning with electric anticipation, Alex didn't retrieve charged. In a blink, he collided with the lead robot, fist first. Boom! A crimson-black bolt of raw energy split the heavens, ripping through the bot and sending it crashing into its comrades, collapsing everything in its wake. With a flash of black energy, Alex surged into the Zonihi's limitless technique unleashed in full. In an instant, he blinked 5 meters forward and raised a hand, effortlessly halting the searing blast from the Sentinel's chest. Calmly pressing his palm to the robot's head, a swirling red-black singularity erupted, tearing through and collapsing its upper half under the strain. The Sentinel's desperate regeneration failed as Alex's spatial slashes carved through the air, erasing all within 5 meters. The general stared, unsettled by the familiar sight, but Colonel Stryker remained composed. Watch what happens next. Suddenly, a shrill hum buzzed from the Sentinels, warping space with unnatural force. In a moment, Alex's limitless field blinked Uthi's abilities suppressed. Hundreds of Sentinels locked into formation, forming a prison of disruption, amplifying suppression fields that even Alex couldn't fully resist. Anyone else would have fallen instantly now. Even he struggled under the weight of silence. After unleashing the upgraded Black Flash, Alex surged into the Zonihi's presence, a blur across space as Limitless Technique hit peak activation. In a blink, he stood 5 meters ahead, deflecting a blazing energy beam with just one hand, before slamming his palm onto the Sentinel's head. A black-red singularity erupted, collapsing its upper half in an instant. But the assault didn't end. Spatial slashes radiated outward, erasing everything within 5 meters like a precision storm. The generals watched in silent alarm, turning to the comm, calculating Colonel, who simply nodded, urging them to observe the Sentinel's next move. A shrill hum split the air as vibration shattered the space around Alex, locking him inside a mechanical cage formed by hundreds of Sentinels. Their devices didn't just disrupt the space, they silenced Alex's limitless flow and suppressed his mutant core. Trapped, even he felt the grip of containment begin to close. Sunlight bent like liquid fire, torn from the sky and swallowed whole, because this wasn't just an attack, it was gravitational annihilation. The swirling azure vortex deepened into a black-blue void, a miniature black hole birthed from sheer will, devouring the battlefield. With generals and Colonel Stryker frozen in disbelief, the earth cracked open, the base below torn apart like paper. Everything steel, stone, structure pulled into the singularity. The Sentinels hovered above, firing energy beams. But one by one, they too were dragged in, their forms twisted by the impossible force. Some tried to run, to morph into flame, frost, or steel, but none could escape the crushing grip of gravity, one of the universe's fundamental laws. Then came the final spectacle. A massive dark sphere hanging in the sky, Sentinels flailing, transforming, resisting, but still helpless. Even enhanced by mutant powers and arc reactor cores, they stood no chance. Watching from orbit, the brass who once ordered the strike on the white-haired mutant felt that same helpless chill they had seen him walk out of a nuclear storm. But this was beyond comprehension. Is this conversation helpful so far? As the generals demanded answers, Colonel Stryker stood frozen, wordless, the gravity of failure etched on his face, fear spread like wildfire. The sharpest minds fled, abandoning their posts as the third strike against the white-haired mutant collapsed into chaos. Then it began. The lapsed blue devoured matter into its spiraling abyss, birthing a colossal sphere high above, a churning mix of wreckage and swallowed Sentinels. Even as Alex ceased his energy feed, the sphere shrank and intensified, threatening to evolve into a true black hole. With his 6 eyes piercing the vortex, he observed the once mighty Sentinels mutate and break beneath the crushing pull no escape. No hope. He watched, intrigued. These weren't the Sentinels of old, and he was no longer bound by the past. With a sharp flick of his wrist, Alex summoned the Hollow Technique. Purple, no seals, no delay, just raw gravitational artistry forged by his level 4 mastery of blue and the piercing gaze of 6 eyes. The purple sphere swelled, a shimmering force of repulsion and collapse, now massive enough to rival giants. It tore through space, annihilating a high-density mass on the verge of becoming a black hole, and shot beyond Earth's pull into the abyss. A system ping echoed in his mind. The technique had leveled up. Now refined, Holotechnique Purple fused blue and vermilion into a deadly, shapeable phantom mass. With new control, he formed a slender dagger from twin spheres merging in his palm. The purple blade pulsed with chaotic potential, and Alex grinned, senses buzzing with anticipation for what this evolving force could become. As purple surged to level 2, Alex's mastery sharpened, and with it, the question loomed: what would level 3 unleash? Testing its edge, he hurled the imaginary dagger straight down. It shattered the sound barrier, pierced deep into the earth, and vaporized a fleeing general mid-escape. Next, he said coldly. With blue at a higher level, Alex now soared at Mach 100. Warping through folded space with deadly precision. Though not a speedster by definition, his velocity outclassed most heroes, and when paired with level 4 6 eyes, even time benders would struggle to react. Slaughter became a blur. One base after another fell as generals vanished in streaks of space-blasted light. By the time he reached the final outpost, primed to unleash another sphere of annihilation, a strange aircraft unlike anything he'd seen descended before him. The jet hissed to a halt as yellow-clad figures emerged. It was the X-Men, stepping out with purpose. From the Blackbird, Professor X led the charge, his gaze locking onto the levitating, radiant figure, Alex, now a being beyond mortal bound. Without hesitation, the professor spoke, his voice firm. "White-haired mutant, stop. Your actions threaten the balance between mutants and humans. Do you intend to start World War I too?" But Alex didn't flinch. He said nothing. Instead, his 6 glowing eyes scanned past Xavier, fixating on Jean Grey. What he saw was staggering. Not just a woman, but a colossal energy entity. A phoenix cloaked in cosmic flame. Intrigued, Alex realized she had merged with the Phoenix Force, its presence humming with power noticeable, but not overwhelming. To him, it was only a fraction. And then a dangerous idea sparked. What if he could take that fragment for himself? What if the Phoenix Force could be his?